Elizabeth, what are you doing here?
I've been formally asked to witness your triumph, my dear. After all, isn't it the natural role of a woman to support her man in victory?
But it's you who insisted I join the Ascalon.
Please forgive my giddiness. I'm just overcome by the thrill of finally being allowed within these hallowed halls.
You certainly have an inquisitive mind. It's quite something. Elizabeth Ashbury, only you can make me smile in these difficult times.
And the same to you, Jonathan Reed. Now go have your little chat with the chairman. I can see he's practically bursting to hear your report.
Welcome back to the Ascalon Club, Lance-Bearer. Please tell us the good news. Have you put an end to the epidemic?
My hypothesis was correct. Doris Fletcher was the source of the contagion in this part of town. She was probably the first to be infected.
And you cleansed her before the hunters, I've been told. Well done, Dr. Reed. You thrust your lance and pierced the very heart of the corruption.
But some questions remain.
The important thing is, we won a major battle for the survival of London. For that, we salute you.
Thank you, my lord.
Now, I have another task for you. One of the utmost importance. Perhaps even more so than the previous.
I'm listening.
It's time for you to perform a most sacred duty for the club. I want you to recruit a new vampire.
Recruit a new vampire? Are you sending me on some sort of diplomatic mission?
Not exactly. I want you to make Aloysius Dawson the Ekon he deserves to be.
I'm not sure I'm the best candidate for such a task.
I can hear the hesitation in your voice, Dr. Reed. I admire a man of principles. But in this matter, there is more at stake than your moral comfort.
It's not a moral question, Lord Redgrave. It's the responsibility of giving immortality to a man I barely know.
Nonsense. Aloysius has been a member of the Ascalon for years. This is but the fruition of a long-held plan.
How would you like me to proceed?
Aloysius is waiting for you at the Dawson estate. Once the deed is done, I'll join you there to celebrate this momentous occasion.
Before I go, I have a few questions.
All right, I'm listening.
Why Aloysius Dawson?
Because he is about to die. And he just may be the most influential man in England. After me, of course.
Did he choose me?
No, I did. My decision is very recent, to say the least, but it is entirely mine.
Does he know I'm coming?
He can't wait to become your progeny, Dr. Reed. Especially now that you have shown how strong your lineage is through your sister.
How would you like me to proceed?
Don't worry. Aloysius has had many years to prepare himself. He has studied our kind for decades.
So shall I just let him drink my blood?
Yes. Aloysius will gratefully sup on your blood. His heart will slow, then stop. But he will rise again as one of us, an immortal.
Is there any danger?
Our blood alters a mortal body so deeply that some don't survive the metamorphosis. They die for good. But Mr. Dawson has been preparing himself for a long time.
You invited Lady Ashbury. Wouldn't that be breaking one of your cardinal rules? No women allowed.
Not allowed as members, no. But considering the circumstances, I thought you'd like to have her here to witness your triumph.
So it's a temporary admittance, then?
Something of a bargain, considering the crisis we're currently facing.
Goodbye, Lord Redgrave.
Understandably, you have questions. Very well, proceed.
Goodbye, Lord Redgrave.
Are you all right, Jonathan?
Lord Redgrave has just ordered me to turn Aloysius Dawson, to make him my progeny.
I see. And how do you feel about this?
I'd like your advice on the matter.
The real question here is, why has his lordship given you this task?
Do you think it's some sort of trap?
Do you really want to know what I think about this?
I do, yes.
To make an immortal of a soulless blackguard like Aloysius Dawson will only lead to a disaster for London. The man is already dead inside.
Should I refuse? Perhaps politely suggest that Lord Redgrave turn the man into a vampire himself.
Don't you dare, my dear. According to what I've recently discovered, his lordship could kill you for even broaching the subject.
Really? Why?
I've recently found proof that the Earl of Bristol is of lesser lineage, and only capable of creating skulls.
Please tell me more about your recent investigation.
As long as you lower your voice.
Are you sure your information about Redgrave is correct? He says he's the progeny of the great knight William Marshall, who lived some 9 centuries ago.
That's a lie. Lord Redgrave is unable to create anything but skulls, if the poor souls survive at all.
How can you be sure the information was correct?
I made the acquaintance of a most interesting informer while investigating your maker, from whom I learned the truth about Lord Redgrave.
Why so vindictive? You suddenly sound like you're angry.
Forgive me, Jonathan. I hate myself for it, but I feel such pride in my discovery. I'm afraid I just can't help it.
Which is?
He did serve William Marshall. And yes, the blood he covets as a token does truly belong to that legendary knight. But he was never his progeny. His lineage is not so noble.
What would you have me do about Dawson?
The man is dangerous. Did you know he plans to build a wall to separate the healthy rich from the sickly poor? Do not make him your progeny.
What would you do?
The man's dying already. Let the Reaper harvest the rotten fruit that is his soul.
What would happen if I made Dawson an Ekon like myself?
You would add a powerful immortal into a suffering world. An immortal who already craves authority.
Maybe I could teach him control, like you taught me. Lead him down the right path.
Mr. Dawson spent his life searching for a way to cheat death. I'm sure he has spent decades dreaming of how he'd spend eternity as a tyrant.
Goodbye for now, Elizabeth.
Goodbye, my dear. Please, be careful.
It looks like vampires have to obey Mendel's laws when producing progeny. Powers pass from one generation to another. That's why Dawson wants me to sire him.
Don't come get them! It's fast! Oh, that's gonna smart! He's mine! Die, beast! Die, vermin!
I cannot enter. I should find another way to get into the neighborhood. I think this passage could lead me close to Aloysius Dawson's mansion. We meet again, Mr. Kimura.
Dr. Reed.
We must both be nocturnal.
Breathing the cold night air help.
Do you know anything about a man called Aloysius Dawson, by any chance?
Well, I've never met the man personally, but I invested money in some of his companies when I came to London. A brilliant businessman.
What can you tell me about your abduction?
If you really want to know, I was locked in that building for 3 or 4 days. My jailer was insane, mumbling about sacrifice and voices.
And why didn't he sacrifice you?
That was the weirdest part. He claimed to spill blood was not enough. It had to be done when some stars were aligned.
Which stars?
That's the whole point. He wanted me to talk to him about some Red Queen configuration or constellation. I've never heard of such an astronomical term.
What did he say about it?
He constantly whined about the voice of his master, ordering him to do terrible things. He wanted to silence the voice by offering blood. My blood.
Goodbye, Min.
Is there anything to connect me to this city?
Women of all...
Good evening.
And good...
What do you know about Aloysius Dawson?
That man is a tyrant. The embodiment of greed and selfishness. All I despise about this country.
Goodbye.
She's been quite busy these last few nights. I suspect you may see her before me.
demons!
This is despicable. I need to find information about Aloysius Dawson. What can you tell me about him?
Don't trust him. He's looking for the same thing I was. Rats? No, not rats. Something else. I don't remember.
I must go now. It's locked, all right. It's locked. can't believe I'm doing this. This is despicable.
You're bleeding! This is mine!
have this thirst for blood. It's locked, all right.
From Ascalon.
I cannot enter. I can't believe I'm doing this. Louise's father was determined to find and save her. It's locked, all right. I cannot enter. It's locked. Miss Teasdale, are you all right?
How do you know my name? Who are you?
My name is Dr. Reed. I managed to track you down thanks to your father.
So my father really was looking after me. This man, this vampire told me my father was dead. Is it true?
I'm afraid so, miss. I'm so sorry for your loss. But you are free to go, as your abductor is no more.
I suppose my jailer also killed my father, didn't he?
Thankfully, he did not search your father's corpse, where I found his notes describing where he might find you. You should read them.
I must find my father's body. He deserves a proper burial.
Goodbye, Miss Teasdale, and be careful. Until we meet again.
Good evening, sir. May I ask you what you're doing here at this late hour?
I'm conducting an investigation about the epidemic in this part of town.
And who are you, sir?
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, from the Pembroke Hospital. May I ask who you are, and why all the questions?
I'm Detective Inspector Charles Albright from Scotland Yard. And I don't find your answers convincing. What is a Pembroke doctor doing in the West End at this time of night?
I work for the Ascalon Club. Here is my permit to go freely about the city.
The Ascalon Club? You should have said so, sir. I must warn you, these streets are dangerous, and you'd better be careful.
Do you know anything in particular about a man called Aloysius Dawson?
Who doesn't know the man? I think he intervened personally to put an end to the police strike of last August.
What else can you tell me about him?
Aloysius Dawson is exactly the kind of powerful and influential man who could commit murder and get away with it, with just one phone call.
Why are you investigating?
Criminals rarely act in daylight, you know. But since you are also a night worker, have you noticed anything strange which requires police attention?
I'd like to report a name, Inspector. Jeffrey McCullum. I'm afraid he's some sort of vigilante, trying to recruit an army of angry citizens.
Then I'll write the name down and transmit this intelligence to the appropriate office. Thank you, sir.
What can you tell me about this district?
I'm the one asking questions, especially when there's a killer on the loose.
What killer?
I'm not going to discuss that with a civilian, sir.
Haven't I told you about the investigation I'm conducting? Perhaps I could help you.
All right, without giving you too much information, I'll tell you this. I'm convinced there is a homicidal maniac on the loose, using the epidemic to disguise his kills.
And what about the epidemic?
We both know the situation is critical, don't we, Doctor? Colleagues of mine die almost every day.
What are you really doing here?
I told you. I'm a detective inspector from Scotland Yard, investigating suspicious cases in the area.
Do you work alone?
Yes, the situation is difficult for the police. Many of us are sick, and since the summer strike, most men apply a work to rule on their patrols.
What about the situation in the East End? Why are there no police there to protect the civilians?
I know, it's a shame, but we just don't have enough men to cover the entire city.
What are you investigating, exactly?
I have a missing woman, possibly abducted a few nights ago. Louise Teasdale. It seems you already found my other missing person, Mr. Tadao Kimura.
Tell me about Louise Teasdale.
She's a waitress. Her father reported her missing. We don't have enough men to search for her, sadly.
Do you have any idea where she could be?
No. But I feel she's been abducted. She went to a pub a few nights ago and vanished. I thought about the sewers, but I'm not equipped for such an investigation.
What are you in?
I have a miss.
Tell me about...
She's awake.
Do you have...
No.
Tell me all you know about that homicidal...
I'm not even sure there is only one. The wounds are always the same, but the modus operandi varies. Sometimes violent and brutal, sometimes precise and swift.
How could different killers inflict the same wounds?
That's my main problem. If my theory is correct, maybe we're facing a group of individuals sharing the same violent tendencies. Perhaps a sadist cult.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Dr. Jonathan.
Good evening, Miss Price. I'm Dr. Reed. Do you remember me?
Dr. Reed? Yes, of course. You are the doctor who healed me and my mum. Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Good to see you too, Carol. Are you all right?
Oh, yes. I did not hurt myself recently. I know how to take care of myself now. I'm almost a grown-up.
Have you ever met the famous Aloysius Dawson?
Yes. A very strange man. Not very nice.
What do you mean?
He said he was ready to pay good money for rare books, and then laughed at what we showed him.
Do you enjoy what...
Oh, yes, Doctor. My mother raised...
Do you remember your father?
No, I was just a baby.
Do you ever think about getting married?
Oh, no, Dr. Reed. Mum always says I'm still a child.
Why are you awake at night?
I am helping my mother in her shop.
I'm sure your mother is
I do the best I can.
Why is work?
Oh no, most people are gentle with me.
What can you...
I don't speak to many people.
What can you tell me about the epidemic?
Some of our regular customers have left.
Have you no friends at all?
No. Mr. Nithercote used to pass by and was always nice to me.
Does he not come by anymore?
No. Mum said he was weird. Always reciting poetry about a girl he'd met in Whitechapel. I wonder who this camellia may be.
Goodbye, Cap.
I am sorry, I can't help you, sir. Perhaps you should talk with someone else instead.
Good evening, Miss Price. How are you tonight?
Dr. Reed, I didn't know you had returned from the war. I had a new doctor when you left, but he's not as kind as you.
Always glad to see a former patient in good condition. It's been a long time.
Too long indeed. And as a token of my appreciation, I'll grant you the best price if you fancy buying anything from my humble shop.
Do you know Aloysius Dawson?
Everybody knows him. He's only been to my shop once, though, looking for rare books and other intriguing antiques.
Did he buy something from you?
No, he left quickly. He almost laughed at my goods. Mr. Dawson may be a rich man, but you can't buy good manners.
But isn't Aloysius Dawson known for his philanthropy?
That was before his brother Robert died in an aeroplane crash. Since then, the remaining twin has turned into a heartless tycoon.
Does your daughter still worry you, Miss Price?
Have you not seen Carol since you returned?
So you're less afraid? Why would her innocence...
She does not realize how cruel...
You have every...
Maybe you could talk with her, Doc.
What can you tell me about...
I'm still managing my shop.
Really?
Don't get me wrong, Dr. Reed, you're...
Tell me more about yourself. No new fiancé? I remember you were hoping to get remarried. I'm sure you must have a few suitors.
Who would marry an old bat like myself with a grown daughter and a little business? As you know, I only fancy handsome men like yourself.
Have you noticed...
Other than you coming back to cheer me up?
Carol's gratitude.
I'm taking care of my daughter.
But she'll probably...
Why would she leave?
May I look at your goods?
It's always a pleasure to have you here, Doctor. Dr. Reed,
I cannot enter. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed.
Dr. Reed? Dr. Reed?
Is there anything wrong?
No, it's just... Your name sounds familiar. And your face. Have we met before?
I think I would remember. So I suppose the answer is no.
That's odd. I'm certain I've already heard of you. My name is Pericles Baker. Does that mean anything to you?
I'm afraid not, sir. But it's a pleasure to meet you anyway.
The pleasure is mine, I guess. I only wish I could remember when it was that we met.
What can you tell me about Aloysius Dawson?
I've heard this is a man who has searched for his place in the world for a long time. I hope he found it.
Tell me about yourself.
We are waiting.
And why?
Because we need to leave this city.
Why do you want to leave the city?
I'm not really sure.
Can you...
As you like asking questions so much, would you allow me to ask you one first?
Please, be my guest.
Do you like this city?
I know we are not living in the most peaceful of times, but I have learned to appreciate London's complexity.
Yes, me too. This city tests us.
But what if we don't like what we find?
Do we ever know who...
And what...
I stopped working when I decided to leave. When I realized what I wanted. Wanted something this city can't provide.
But what were you doing before you took this decision?
Does it really matter anymore? Considering the past seems so pointless to me. I have lived in this city all my life. And now...
Tell me more.
I just...
Who are you waiting for? I'm sure he has a name.
I really can't answer that question, since I don't know that person.
And why is that?
This person is mostly my brother's acquaintance. I don't even know his real name. Only that this man could help us leave this city once and for all.
But why would you need this person's help to leave London anyway?
Well, I thought we should have left this cursed place already, but my brother convinced me to stay a while longer, and here we are.
Goodbye. Good evening. Goodbye. Good evening, sir.
Yes, please. Would you be kind enough to tell me what the time is?
That's all you need to know.
Well, is it not important to know? As important as where you are? Or who you are?
I suppose you're right. And who are you then, sir?
I am Agamemnon Baker. Like my brother, I think we need to leave this city immediately. And my brother and I rarely agree on anything.
May I ask?
I believe fear.
May I ask?
I don't know. You should ask my brother.
You must have your own.
From what I have managed to understand...
What can you...
It's the only place I've considered my...
Why is that?
Because I'm not feeling happy here anymore.
I still enjoy living in London, no matter how difficult it can be sometimes.
Then I am sincerely happy for you. True happiness in life seems to be the most difficult goal to reach these days.
What can you...
He's older than me, I think. But the important thing is that I really hope I'll die before him. Grief would just kill me, you know?
Is that all?
Pericles is very attached to this city, and without my insistence, he would never leave this place. We don't often agree on anything, you see?
What can you tell me about Aloysius Dawson?
You should ask that question to my brother instead. Personally, I've not seen Aloysius for many years.
Who are you waiting for, exactly?
The more I think about it, the more I believe it's not exactly a person we are waiting for.
But what else could it be, then?
I don't know. A feeling? An event? An impulse? How can I tell? Something that would allow us to leave this trap.
I'm afraid I'm not following you. What kind of trap are you talking about?
Have you ever felt like life trapped you in a role that does not fit you? That you're not in your place? That sort of trap.
Trap?
At least it will give us the chance to...
Goodbye.
Perhaps London will survive the epidemic, but I see terrible trials awaiting in the future. Jonathan Reed. At last we meet. The cards warned me you would visit tonight.
I beg your pardon, sir. Do I know you?
Of course you do. Our mutual friend, Dr. Swansea, can't speak highly enough of you. My name is Usher. Usher Talltree.
You are the leader of the Brotherhood, are you not?
Primate of the Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole, to be precise. I'm really glad we met tonight. I love it when the cards tell me a truth.
The cards told you to expect me.
Yes, they tell me everything. They told me that you struggle hard not to take too many lives.
Is there anything you could tell me about Aloysius Dawson?
Aloysius Dawson. Yes, of course. We met on several occasions. With time, he got deeper and deeper into the occult.
He's not the only one. It's been quite the fashion for several decades. The Golden Dawn, for instance, is just one example.
True. Aloysius was a member of the Golden Dawn until 1900. Then his thirst for dark knowledge grew. I'm talking forbidden texts, readings which blackened his heart.
Can you read the cards for me?
Are you sure you want to know what they will reveal?
Yes, I am.
It will cost you 150 shillings.
Perhaps later. What can you tell me about the neighborhood?
I really don't know. I don't often go outside. And when I do, it's usually to quite distant destinations.
So you see nothing in the stars for me? You're a poor fortune teller, then?
Oh, I can tell you many things. But they will only concern you, not the city. For example, I know that you offered your sister the final rest she asked for.
Do the cards speak of my Mary?
No. It's the burning aura of guilt that precedes you everywhere you go.
Read my fortune, then.
You have been chosen, Jonathan. I see on you the mark of a strong being, so powerful it needn't even reveal its strength.
Tell me about yourself. What do you do here, besides turning cards in the middle of the night?
I'm for most a charlatan. For a few, I'm a vampire. And for you, I'm the primate of St. Paul's Stole.
Some believe you to be a vampire. Who?
The guard of Priwen, who else? For a time, they sent spies to observe my activities, and they even broke into my home to gather proof.
Did they steal anything from you?
A personal notebook they quickly took to their headquarters. All they had to do is to look at me. I'm aging. What better and definite proof that I'm not an immortal?
Do you want your notebook back?
If you ever find it, I'd be glad to have it back, of course. I do ask one thing, though. Do not read it, Jonathan. Some secrets are not meant to be revealed, even to immortals.
For how long have you been a primate?
It was 15 years last year.
What do you make of Dr. Swansea?
Edgar is a brilliant and dedicated man. A man of his time, sometimes a little muddled, but always looking for new paths and new concepts.
How did you learn about Mary? And spare me the hocus-pocus parlor tricks. The truth, now!
Swansea told me. Don't look at me like that. His task is to observe and gather information about vampires. He had to tell me about Mary.
She could have survived as a vampire. If only she had given me a chance to explain. If only I could have found the words.
Not all vampires accept their new condition. Since suicide is impossible, you have to find a way to get someone else to relieve the pain.
I could have saved her.
No, Jonathan.
How do you measure the amount of blood on my hands?
I told you. The cards always tell the truth. Well, most of the time.
Is it possible to tell me my future?
A vampire's fate is much more delicate to read, Doctor. But I can try.
All right. Let me hear it.
The walls of your prison have already been raised, Jonathan. But you will freely accept to be locked inside, full of hope for a better day.
I would rather not know. How do you...
I told
Is it...
a vamp...
May I ask you about the Brotherhood?
Of course. But I must warn you that there are some subjects we consider taboo, in spite of our fondness and acceptance of your kind.
I know there is no love lost between the Guard of Priwen and the Brotherhood. What caused this rift?
It was 1801. The Brotherhood was stronger then, a strength that made them hungry for ever greater power. An argument divided them, and the wound never healed.
What was the nature of the disagreement?
The problem was that both sides considered themselves the legitimate heirs of the original Brotherhood. We divide up the books, the relics, not always fairly or with consideration.
Do you require medical attention?
I'm fine, thank you, Jonathan.
May I ask...
Of course.
Who founded the Brotherhood?
That's precisely the kind of question I cannot answer. It is delicate, and may reveal some of our secret traditions.
So you're not just a club of academics and scholars?
Once upon a time, very long ago, the Brotherhood did more than simply study the vampires. They took actions to eliminate the more ferocious and corrupted.
Goodbye, sir.
I rarely wander, yet it amuses me to converse with your kind. Perhaps London will survive the epidemic, but I see terrible trials awaiting in the future.
Fucking fast! Ah, bloody monster! Die, beast! One of them? Watch yourselves!
I will return at a more convenient time. It's locked.
Die, vermin! I can see no evil.
I cannot enter. It's locked.
Best be moving on.
There has been a fight here. I can see a blood trail. Left by one of the antagonists, perhaps?
you into...
I cannot enter.
We should be far from town already. All right. But where would we go? Anywhere. Anywhere that isn't here. And what is that, by the way? A safer place? A less strange place? And where would that be? Life is strange. And we are alive. For now, yes. But for how long? If we decided to flee, we should be far from town already. All right. But where would we go?
This is not a place for you, sir. Die, then!
Stay back, beast! Go on back to the shadows!
Dawson's mansion. Here I am at last. But the question remains, am I ready to make a dying man my progeny? Reduced in rank for falsely accusing a man of murder. I wonder what Inspector Albright thinks about his punishment. It's locked. It's locked.
Finally, you're here, Dr. Reed. What took you so long?
I had to pass several of your barricades and outposts to access your mansion, sir.
Death, pestilence surround us, and time is against me.
I see you've gathered some of the most expensive, albeit experimental, blood transfusion equipment available. All this could be so useful in a hospital.
Yes, yes. Since Lord Redgrave sent me a doctor to perform my conversion, I thought you might find some of these devices useful.
Most thoughtful. But tonight I'm not here. as a physician.
But I feel reassured that a specialist such as yourself would help me to escape the Reaper.
Very well. But before I proceed, I have a few questions for you.
If you must, but be quick, for I don't have much time left in this life.
First of all, I need to be sure that you know exactly what is going to happen to you, sir.
I can assure you I'm as informed as any man can be. I have planned for this moment, Dr. Reed. Planned very carefully.
Believe me, there is a huge difference between reading about vampires and waking up as one. I learned that myself the hard way.
Oh my God, man, stop your whining. I don't have time for your pointless jibber-jabber.
You'll need to feed on warm blood. Blood from mortals. How do you feel about that?
I'm rich, Dr. Reed, and powerful. I'm sure I'll be able to acquire all the blood I need without ever having to sully my own hands.
What do you know about the Guard of Priwen?
What I do know is that I'll crush anyone or anything that would dare to oppose me.
I will become your maker. Do you understand what that means?
Well, I certainly won't consider you my liege or some such drivel. You can be assured of that.
Let's move on, then.
Please, I'm cold and tired. I feel my life waning with every moment.
But first, before you embrace immortality, what would you do with such a gift?
That's a rather impertinent question, Dr. Reed, and I will do as I please.
Answer me all the same. What will your first action be as an immortal?
To save London. I will finance the most efficient quarantine ever seen. I will build a wall that will separate the sick boroughs from the healthy ones.
Quarantine is not a bad idea, medically speaking. But I'm convinced this epidemic will not be contained by mere walls.
As long as the right people are on the right side of the wall, that's all that matters.
But you can't guarantee infection will not spread. Just one contagious carrier would be enough to create an apocalypse.
The apocalypse is already knocking at the gate. We must be strong now.
What if a new outbreak happens inside your walls? You'll have created a giant trap.
That won't happen. As long as we dispose of anyone that is contaminated as soon as they are spotted.
You really plan to build a quarantine wall across London?
Yes, it will be tall and strong, separating the wheat from the chaff.
By doing so, you will also create two separate prisons.
Come, sir. An eminent doctor like yourself knows that such radical measures have proved efficient in the past.
Let me guess. You mean to isolate the rich from the poor?
This is a desperate measure for desperate times. England must prevail, Doctor, no matter the cost.
Who gave you the right to decide the fate of thousands of people?
My money. My money and my pending immortality gives me the needed authority, Doctor. I'm a businessman. I'm used to tough decisions.
I've heard enough. It's time to proceed.
At last. All right, do what you have to do. If it hurts, so be it. I've been preparing such a long time for this.
Listen to me, Aloysius Dawson. You will forget your fear of dying, for it has poisoned your mind and made you bitter and ruthless since the death of your twin brother.
You don't understand. Death is oblivion, the eternal void. I know there's nothing there. I saw it in Robert's empty eyes. I saw myself in that coffin.
Death is painful for those who remain, not for those who have passed. All that occult gibberish you filled your head with has made you forget this simple truth.
No! Death will not claim me. I have the power and the money. I've acquired the arcane knowledge needed. I believe there is magic, there are dark forces. You will provide me my extension.
Your ignorance makes you a fool. You have no idea. Look at me. Hunted like a beast, my family lost, cursed. I have not escaped death, I have become it.
No, there must be a way. I don't want to go like my brother did. I have money, lots of money.
Money won't ease your mind. I know you used to be a good and generous man, so I offer you the gift of peace, Aloysius. The tranquility of a true death.
I accept your offer, and I understand. No more fear, I will die a man of dignity, and a man at peace.
It's locked.
Is it done, Dr. Reed? Is Aloysius Dawson reborn, as expected?
I'm afraid Mr. Dawson finally chose to embrace life and death as a mortal.
What do you mean?
He has overcome his fear of dying. I let him rest and wait for death to come.
What? This is unacceptable. Go back there and make him the powerful Ekon he's destined to be.
No, Lord Redgrave. As a doctor and as an immortal, I can't. If you wish to make him your progeny, then proceed on your own.
This is an outrage beyond words. This is betrayal, pure and simple. I should kill you on the spot. You swore on William Marshall's blood.
Well, get rid of me then.
From now on, you're an outcast. Banished. You are forbidden to ever appear in front of us again. Ascalon will smite you on sight, and your heart will be thrown to the rats.
I'll leave you then. Have fun with your puppets and shadow plays, Lord Redgrave.
Yes, go, traitor. And take that awful creature, that counterfeit of a woman I saw waiting for you, and be gone!
We meet again at the strangest of times, young Ekon. So do you serve the Earl of Bristol now?
Old Bridget. What are you doing here?
Your friend, the wise Ekon. She sent me to warn you.
Did anyone see you? It's a long way from the dock sewers, and hunters are patrolling the streets here.
Who said I took the streets? How do you think I survived for centuries in this city without ever being seen? I know all her secrets.
How did you meet Lady Ashbury?
She came to us in the sewers in search of answers. just as you did.
What kind of answers did you give her?
I knew nothing of your maker, but we talked. We talked a lot. Her words and ideas are captivating. It is no surprise that you like her. I like her too.
Lady Ashbury in the sewers? Now that's a sight I wish I'd seen.
She said she was your friend, and that she sought the identity of your maker. So I answered her questions.
Lady Ashbury? You know her? Tell me what's going on.
The lady approached me but a few nights ago, wanting to meet the sewer skulls. Once she questioned Harriet Jones. She agreed to help us.
Harriet Jones is still with you then? How is she doing?
Harriet remains angry, but is recovering slowly. Her mind is twisted, but at least her body is healing.
Tell me what is going on.
The lady asked us to keep an eye on your mortal doctor friend while you were away. We spotted the hunters. They were discussing plans to attack tonight.
Wait, slow down. I need to ask you something.
I'm listening, but I do not have time to waste, so be quick.
How did Elizabeth find you?
She presented herself humbly at our gate and asked if we knew of any ancestral vampires hiding in London. She asked about Ascalon. She asked about many things.
What do you think of her?
Her soul is good, yet tainted with a deep sadness and the scars of ancient wounds. Time does that to us immortals, for we have so much to dwell upon.
Why did she come to you?
I am old Bridget, the buried memory of the city. She sought the silent truths. Truths I have kept hidden for so long.
Where is Lady Ashbury right now?
She said she will go home. She needed to speak with some old friends first, though. Do not worry, young Ekon. She is no fool, and just as strong as you.
Why do I feel like Lord Redgrave was particularly irritated to see you? Far more so than the average Skull, if I may say.
Because I used to know him quite well. And he is afraid I may remember who he really is.
You're Elizabeth's informant. You're the one who told her about Lord Redgrave's lies regarding his lineage.
Yes, but my words were not meant to hurt or threaten. I simply told the story of the sewer skulls, and of so many other forgotten children.
No time to lose, then. I must go there right away.
I shall return to my den. Have you a message for the lady? Should I see her before you?
Yes. Tell her I love her.
Is this still unknown to her? Go now and take care, young Ekon, for the flames are rising.
dare you interfere with my... You're mine! How dare you interfere with my...
When science fails you, this ship here will give you faith again.
This is now my domain, young Ekon!
how you defeated Pembroke Pasha.
What is this truck? Are the vampire hunters here already? Those bastards. What have they done to Edgar? McCullum and his thugs are taking the credit for Edgar's abduction. They really mean business.
Ultraviolet curtains and orichalcum powder. Dr. Swansea's always been a resourceful bastard. I bet he never told you he had this installed in case of a vampire attack. Says a lot about how much he trusts you.
What have you done with Edgar?
Don't worry. We don't kill humans. Even if your friend is deserving of a little punishment for what.
What are you talking about?
We know everything. Swansea and you created this bloody epidemic. You aim to unleash another disaster, just like William Marshall did.
No! I'm trying to put an end to it, just like you are.
You're the progeny, aren't you? Where is the monster hiding? It's still in England, isn't it?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Jeffrey, please listen to me.
No tricks. That shit won't work on me. We've found proof in the theater. Doris Fletcher was your first experiment. Now where is Marshall? Speak! So much for modern technology. Time for the tried and true. Do you know what this is, Beast? This is a drop of King Arthur's blood. The blood of a true defender of Britain. Stronger than your evil powers.
ridiculous. We're losing precious time.
True enough. Soon I'll bring your head before your coward of a father. Pin you down! Show some style. Fight like a man. The blood of a true defender of this land will protect me. If you're so innocent, what? Your poisonous bite is useless on me. True light will... Come on, Reed. Try something else. Freewind prevails! Who does marvels against your kind? I know. It hurts, doesn't it? I'll pin you down! We are the guardian of justice. Priwen shall prevail.
You can't accept the fact we're not enemies, can you?
We always have been, and we always will be. Of all the evils that threaten mankind, your kind are the worst.
I'm not saying we could be friends, you and I. But perhaps we could collaborate to put an end to this epidemic.
Never! We are Priwen. We do not negotiate. We do not compromise.
There is no way you'll ever let me be, McCullum. You'll always hunt me down, won't you?
There is no escape, Leech. Kill me now. For there is no way you can sway me to your ideals.
That's where you're mistaken.
What do you mean?
I'll spare you, McCullum. I'll offer you the mercy you never offered me.
What is this ruse?
This is no ruse, McCullum. This is me letting you go. After all, you and I are both trying to save this poor country, in our own way.
I'll kill you, Reed. Next time we meet, I'll end you.
See? Progress already. You called me by my name. Until the next time. Goodbye, Hunter. The flower's dying. It needs water.
Open it! No! Take a breath of this! Best run along home, sir. Leech spotted! Watch out! Watch out for that team! He's dead!
So Priwen never left Doris's theatre after they invaded. They must be holding Edgar here in their new headquarters.
Not a good place for a stroll. I'd step back, sir. It's a leech! Kill it! Filthy piece of shit! Don't forget to check every door.
We have a killer! Watch out! It's fast! Stop Vampyr! God walks with me!
It's locked.
Over there!
Remember your vows, friend. Have no fear, brothers.
It's locked, all right.
Fear no evil. We do the Lord's work here. Fear no evil. We do the Lord's work here. Have faith, brothers! Fear no evil. We do the Lord's work here. We cannot be defeated.
Don't forget to check every door. Keep an eye on each other.
I cannot enter.
Keep an eye on each other.
Doris Fletcher was about to become a disaster. I'm getting close to having all the evidence. This thirst for blood. It's locked.
Remember your vows, friend.
You're mine! Want some of this? I'll send you back to the bloody crime!
It's locked, all right. Blood of a pure heart, garlic, Blood of a king. I don't understand. Perhaps this is what McCullum drank. I had better keep that in mind. I should find the key to that box. It's locked, all right. It's locked. Edgar. Edgar, can you hear me?
Jonathan, is it really you?
Easy. Easy. Save your strength. I'm getting you out of here.
Don't try to spare me. As a physician, I know all too well when it's too late. Punctured lung, broken ribs, and internal bleeding. An accurate diagnosis, wouldn't you say?
Edgar, what happened?
They wanted me to confess. Beat me black and blue.
Jeffrey McCullum ambushed me at the Pembroke hospital. He was convinced you and I were responsible for the Skull epidemic.
I never imagined that self-righteous fanatic would dare to attack us in the open. What became of him?
To prove him wrong, I let him go.
Really? You sure that was the wisest course of action?
Time will tell. The most intriguing part of his accusation was that you and I were the pawns of some ancient vampire.
William Marshall. Yes, they tortured me to make me confess the same nonsense.
I trust you, Edgar, but the Guard of Priwen is onto something.
What do you mean?
William Marshall, for example. You speak of him as if you know him. How is that?
Jonathan, I cannot say I'm ready for another round of questions.
Why would the Guard of Priwen...
Maybe due to our...
While investigating the epidemic, I read some of McCullum's findings. I think you have some explaining to do.
I have nothing to hide, Jonathan. Nothing at all.
Do you remember when we suspected Sean Hampton of killing Harriet Jones?
Yes.
Harriet Jones faked her...
That woman was extremely...
Do you know Doris Fletcher's real name?
No, I'm afraid not.
Her real name was Doris Jones. She was the daughter of Harriet Jones.
What do you want me to say, Jonathan?
Doris Fletcher visited her mother at the Pembroke hospital. That's how she first got infected.
I know nothing about that. Miss Fletcher once came to visit the sick. That is all I know.
No, Edgar, there is more. Doris Fletcher was Harriet Jones's daughter. They exhibited the same symptoms: blind hate and strong physical mutation.
What does this sad story have to do with us?
Come on, Edgar. Don't you see the pattern here? The epidemic, the link between Doris and Harriet, the suspicion of McCullum?
How could I? I never saw Harriet Jones again after she fled the hospital.
Do you know where we are? Doris Fletcher's theater. This is where that hateful creature plotted to spread the epidemic across London.
I only briefly met
My point exactly.
Certain diseases.
Doris and Harriet shared more than a hidden family bond. They were the embodiment of the epidemic and are linked to the Pembroke Hospital. Come on, Edgar, this is no coincidence.
I swear I'm at a complete loss. All I did was administer vampire blood to cure old Harriet. There was no evil plan, no diabolical plot.
You did what?
I tested the regenerating and healing properties of vampire blood on Harriet Jones. My only intention was to find the cure for influenza, I swear.
Whose blood did you use? William Marshall's? Mine?
Lady Ashbury's. While transfusing her with human blood, humanely appeasing her hunger, I also kept samples of her blood for my research.
You used her blood on Harriet Jones? My God, Edgar, that's unethical. You betrayed 2 of your patients at the same time.
Right, I admit it. I boldly ventured into experimental realms, but I've killed no one to appease my thirst for knowledge, Jonathan. I'm no murderer.
I never asked to become what I am, Edgar. You chose to conduct your rogue experiments.
You have worked beside me. You saw what I'm doing at Pembroke Hospital. Jonathan, you know I'm not an evil soul. Just another victim of this tragedy.
No, Edgar, you are not going to die. Unless you want to.
What do you mean?
I can save you, Edgar. I can turn your broken body into one like mine.
You truly would? After all I've done, after all that's been said, you would offer me this gift?
I have no way of knowing which punishment would be worse, Edgar. But it is not for me to decide. So?
Oh, please, Jonathan, please. I beg you. This is what I've always wanted. This is what I've always searched for.
Very well, then. Prepare to die and be reborn. To face an eternity of guilt.
I'm ready. Oh, indeed, I am ready.